I think in the early stage, first year, second year, I think you need to really catch up your drawing skill. Okay, there are a lot of example. I think I already give it to you, and some maybe probably from your studio, from your what we call it, from the internet reference, right? So there are a lot of references. So I think it's just a matter on you to look back and also to practice yourself. I think just want to share also that to catch up this thing, skill on manual, I think you need to do a lot of work, especially on practicing your confidence of on your drawing line, form, the uh, 3D, three-dimensional drawings. So all these are important. So let me share just a recap first. I will demonstrate to you. Inshallah, I just open up my iPad. Then after I give some input on it, so I will show you some technique. But of course, actually throughout my experience, the technique and the skill is depend on you actually. You can have your own type of stroke. Stroke means your pattern, the way that you draw, the way that you uh, come up with the scheme of your presentation. So this is all depending much on how you portray your own image in your drawings. That's why some is the procedure or the step actually basically is about to guide you. Okay, which drawings, which part of the drawing that you need to produce, how you can produce a right drawings, right scale, right composition. So it's just a guidance. But by end of the day, for example, you draw a line, so every person can have their own character on your own line. All right, your own line. So if you asking me also, I have my own character. I'm not pushing you to follow my line character. Okay, they are every person will have their own style of drawings. So that's why when you see some sketches, so you can see there are different type of sketches. It depend on how you comfortable in making your own drawings. So that's why I said to you, when you practice, so you become your own drawing character in your work. Okay, let me share a bit. This just want to recap back. I think the perspective form. Okay, 3D is always important because of. Can you see it on the screen?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, maybe it's very tough for me to change. Okay, so if you look here, it's very quick, simple sketch. So, but it's again that is the basic of this drawing is from the perspective of 1 point or 2 point. But sketching will develop not just about your line character or your skill on presenting ideas, but also from sketch that you can imagine that how the space will look like. So you must have this kind of knowledge. You must have this kind of skill in order for you to describe your ideas. Kita tidak boleh. We cannot just simply explain through our verbal presentation or our verbal communication. It must follow with the drawing. But sometimes, not sometimes, the drawing is much form. If you're asking me, every semester, I really want to be a good a best designer. Yes, I did. That's why I'm telling you, sharing with you, drawings are more powerful than your verbal. Okay, drawing are more powerful. People or your lecturer, your client, will see and understand more from your drawing rather than you speak out. Because of your drawing will giving kind of a picture, okay, imagination, ideas that you want to portray it, then followed by your explanation. If you explain it without a drawing, how people can imagine it, right? That's very simple. If you're drawing a pool, so for example, you can say a bench. So this is just a bench. So you look this simple sketch up there. So two benches and one tree. That's all. But what kind of character of that particular benches or bench? What kind of style? What sort of trees? Is it flowering trees? So of course, it will go deeper and deeper. When you go more detail drawing, all right, we go more detail in term of interpretation and also in term of how you describe. If you look all this, for example, this picture shows a window. So you can see it's very detailed drawing to show the type of window, how the window looks like. This is part of architecture drawing lah, but it doesn't matter. So it's more detailed. But if this simple sketch, it gives some ideas on the, for example, a purpose of the walkway along, maybe along the lakeside, along the promenade, so you can have a row of trees. So when I can, I also can explain it, right, because of the drawings. Of course, that the author of this or the designer of this drawing will explain differently, maybe, but ourselves also can understand it because of the drawing. Same like this. This is more, you know, detail in term of giving a form of trees, right? A row of trees that giving some shape on it. So people can interpret it in many ways. But the drawing will show something about the garden. You can see a open lawn and the trees. So in this image, it just show two elements, the trees and the lawn. We can understand that lawn because you have some texture like kind of a grass. No, it's not a pavement. It's not a tile. It's not a decking, right? It's a lawn. It's an open lawn. So that's why your drawing actually must speak out something that related with the feature, isn't it? With the feature that you draw it. That's why it is important that when we draw something, we need to ensure what actually our drawing means. When the client see it. I don't want to describe much on isonometric isometric. This is a guidance of in terms of how you producing some visual, all right? But it depend on you later on to show up. If you draw more, all right? If you produce plan, elevation, section, perspective, 3D, it will give a great package in terms of understanding of your design work. Yeah, in terms of design work. So that's why, as a guidance, the three-dimensional drawing is actually is such important and significant to describe the setting of your work, setting of the uh, design. All right. So you can practice it. Last time I asking you to draw a garden. So I hope that you will come up with isometric, isometric, right? You can use also your plan in your studio work. So you can practice this whether you want to you can try, you know, applying the isometric and isometric. It's a different view. Even you can switch into different way to see the space. We as a designer, we must always look three-dimensional because if we can see whatever in front of us now we see the 3D, right? Three-dimensional, four-dimensional, including our ceiling, sky, floor, the wall, right? So giving you kind of a setting. Same like this. This is just a plan. A plan we cannot imagine much. We can understand this building, with some lawn, okay, the street, but it's nothing much to see the ambience. So when you look into the 3D drawings, so you start imagining the space, the volume between the building. You can see the building there, the two building and the courtyard, their backyard. Okay, this is my work in when did my master in UK. It's a typical housing type of terrace housing. So they have a backyard. Their backyard become their front yard a bit. So they have all the family activities at the back. And this is the frontage. You can see that all these acts actually their front stage, the frontage of the building that facing to the street. And I designed a small pocket park in between the block. So from this, I start to think how to decorate, how to design a space between the block, the building to building, right? So from this 3D, I I trying to play it around to see some maybe the block because this is about urban design. Okay, I change a bit the block. Some I project, some I make it a recess. Okay, recess. You can see that they maintain some aging there and some recess, and that is the garden. So the space that very potential to develop a garden. Then I start draw on plan. On plan, I can't imagine much the and beyonds. We as a designer always want to see the and beyond. Last time I show you in our introduction class when I explained Dubai. So I explained the place, right? The place making. When we travel through MRT, we see all the space, between block, a garden, a boulevard, art. So as a designer, it's not enough just to produce a plan or section. No, the 3D is very important and very powerful. From here also you can talk a lot about your design ideas. So kepakaran, your skill on producing this 3D drawing are really important for me. Yeah, so same, you want to be a great designer, you want to score a great mark in your studio, drawings play a very big role here. Okay, design, you can see some example, all right, understand from the theory, understand from the input given by your lecturer, your case study, reference study. But finally, you need to produce your own work, your own design. You start thinking about the space. You see the foundation of landscape architecture book. There are a lot of composition there, a setting, and you just copy a bit, but then you have to modify. That one is a design. So before you come up this kind of drawing, of course, you need to think about how you design, how you uh, setting out the landscape features there, the hardscape, the softscape, the walkway, how people experience it, the space to space, from one place to another place. So your drawing must be speak out well. So from this 2D, so you come with 3D, you can explain it so people can walk comfortably from this park at the end of this, the park is there, so they can continue walking and they have a traffic calming style here. People can park, the resident can park their car, and in between you can have a garden. So the garden can be like a neighborhood garden. So in the evening, morning, or anytime, so community can gather here. So this green can be part of the continuous uh, park between at this residential block and the big park up there. So the 3D is very important and powerful to support your ideas. And here also you can imagine that what the thing that you want to put it there. Sometimes our drawing is look empty because we don't have ideas. So it's not necessary for you to complete a plan a section or elevation at one time. Also, not at one time. I mean, in that kind of what they call it, the hierarchy or the flow. Sometimes you can try to make a sketch first, to imagine that, because imagination as a designer, imagination is a key thing here to generate your uh, further work or further design. So you must start with some uh, quick imagination in your mind. What the things that you want to create at certain areas or certain places. Yeah. So you can start on doing very quick sketch, or you can start from the plan and the axonometric. Then from there, you can come up with the section. That's why it's not necessary for you during my experience as well. I'm not, for example, just finish a plan, then I section, perspective, I put the last. No. Sometimes from the plan, I can move to perspective, because from the perspective of axonometric, I can see the potential of the space that I want to create. Then after I come up with the 3D, I can put it back on the plan. You can work like that. It's not necessary for you to work linear in the linear form. Okay, you can start on section. You can start on, because this is about imagination. Sometimes it's very hard, very tough to vision, to view the site through on plan only. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you can imagine that how the setting, the landscape, right? So you start on the perspective. So they're giving you some. It's not necessary for you to detail up the building. So you just focus on landscape. For example, you have a small garden, kind of walkway there. So you can have a water bubbler, right? This is by sketch in 2004. Yeah, this from this project, right? I did manually. Some of my friends work on computer, but actually I learned computer when I did my PhD. It's quite very late. So before I just working on manual. Even though when I work as an assistant architect, I also work manually. When I work in Singapore also, I always produce the master plan and manual graphic. Okay. I just started my digital work when I did my PhD, because I need to produce a lot of drawing and diagram. I learned from YouTube, from my friends. So then when I transfer into computer, it's very easy for me, because I can imagine all the dimension. For example, the parking space. I can imagine that. I think the power here, when you always produce a 3D, you can easily imagine the space that you want to create. To be a good designer, ideas are important, right? Ideas means you just think about it, but to compose it, to create, to draw. So this is another level. Okay, you must, throughout this very quick sketch ideas, example like this. So you start thinking about to portray certain character. Even like this kind of sketch is very important for you. It's part of your presentation as well. Don't think just a final perspective like this become your final work, right? This can be a very simple sketch like what I already shared to you just now. This is a final sketch. For example, this is a perspective at this corner. I can make it at this corner. So this is the perspective. So the walkway, continuous walkway, and some pocket garden there. All right. So this is a 2 point perspective, and this is 1 point perspective, isn't it? So 1 point, you can see this a vanishing point, and this is the horizon. So now we set, for example, this is the paper. We set below than half of this dimension. So you get a bit the eye contact level. Otherwise, you will get more like bird eye level, bird view. Okay, this is also eye level. So this is the vanishing point here, vanishing point, and this is how I draw this perspective. For example, you can imagine that this is the line. So that is the perspective line there. So from this point, I just drag out like that. This is a vanishing point here. Then here another vanishing point. So you can feel it. So this is the horizon. Then I think here is another line there. So I got a 2 point perspective. Okay, this is 1 point perspective. This is a 2 point. This is isometric. Yeah. So isometric. Okay, you need to practice it. Okay, in your garden, in your project. So you can try 1 point and 2 point perspective. Just focus on this. Of course, there sometimes they said the 4 point perspective, 3 point perspective. I think as a basic drawings, you just focus on the two type, one point and 2 point perspective. So here, imagine that even from the photo that you take it, like here. So it also same. That's why this is the photo that existing. But in our work, so we need to draw because that is the future looks of the garden. So that's why you need to draw. Or of course that later on you will learn about computer. You can be generated by the computer work. So the view. So what sort of angle that you want to show it? The eye level and the horizon context. So normally this is the paper, the half, you make it the horizon, and this is the ground line. So you can imagine that it looks like the perspective are in the same ground vision. Yeah. So 1 point perspective, for example, you can imagine that this is you. You are looking on the some what I call it, the view, and you can imagine that the composition of the each perspective. So sketches also same. So you must start with the some guidance on the three-dimensional form, right? So it's again here. So you can imagine that from this perspective, this is in photo. That's why when we create the perspective, we must imagine that when when the garden will establish, what are the uh, future and beyond future setting, yeah. So again, the vanishing point. So you can imagine that, right? This is the 1 point perspective. So you need to practice this. Even you can produce three or four. Okay. Just want to share that if I mentioned to Isfar, I think, and some of your friends that you want to if you are able to produce four perspectives, just do it. Example, in your lecturer asking you to come up with two perspective, one isometric, two section. If you can provide four section, you can provide a six perspective. Why not? This is depend on your capability. When my lecturer asking me last time during my study time, they have some brief, right? Brief. Okay, one plan, two section, but I always come up more than two section. For example, I want to show more. But of course, when you when you plan to show more, it must have a something in your design to be shown, right? To be shown. So you imagine that you are designer. So every drawing you want to highlight, you want to convince your client, you want to portray your design work. So that's why it's not necessary for you to limit only two drawings, only two what perspective, for two section. It's not. If you can produce, even you can produce aerial view. the whole view of the garden. Why not? Like isometric, the whole view. Then you just put it some colors on it. Inshallah, you will get A's. Everyone want A's, right? Isn't it? Studio, I just want to share with you. Subject important. Studio also much important because it's carry a big credit, isn't it? I always score studio. 4 credit, 6 credit, right? And you must consider that they have a continuous project, okay? Not just one project. So every project you need to score, okay? But all depending on your drawings, your work, your design work, okay? If you don't know, you just trace this angle. But then you need to follow your plan. You can use some guidance. Example like this kind of what guidance and dimension. You can use this. You can go to the perspective website. So you just follow certain angle. For example, if you draw trees, of course you cannot draw like this kind of trees. It become a dead trees. In Malaysia, we cannot see this. This is just a dead trees. Maybe in overseas during autumn, it's far,
Mm.
winter. You can see all this kind of type of tree. But in the tropical setting, it's just a dead trees. So you need to follow. Alright? So it's same like this. You can follow this angle. Even you can see how this graphic can be fit in into your design. Just want to share. I think I already mentioned to you that my design director, although she's experienced working on design work more than 30 years, but he still follow many reference books when he want to start design. There are a lot of books next to him. He want to design a pool, swimming pool. So he's trying to see a lot of example of swimming pool. He want to design a canal, for example, like this. So sometimes we cannot get good ideas. So you must look some example, then trying to adapt some good example to your design. That is understanding, alright? Your kefahaman. But later, how to draw it? You must draw, isn't it? You don't have option. Everything you need to draw it, right? So you just follow. For example, oh, this you just copy. Of course, maybe at your side you don't have a building like that. So you don't need to draw the building. So you just draw a green behind it. Or this, for example, you just draw a garden. But this, but of course that whatever you draw, it must be related with your plan. Janganlah in your plan you draw a circle, but your perspective you draw a square. That's totally wrong. The plan, elevation, section, and perspective must be connected, must be reflected. Guys, if you draw one tree, you must in your perspective maybe just show one tree. If you draw a two, you must show two. It must be exact. Don't cheating, okay, don't cheat. So everything must follow. And if you go to the side, you take some angle, right? Angle of certain area. Maybe, for example, this kind of this street. Design communication is not just telling you the how to draw. You must understand more than that. A technique that produce a work. What are the technique? So this is part of the design communication. Design communication is not just teaching you how to draw. No, they must have a process to understand the concept, to understand the strategy. You know, Alhamdulillah, because I experienced it as a best designer in the school and also as a landscape architect in the firm, in the company. So whatever we draw, whatever we produce, is to sell our work. Remember, it's to sell our work. Your perspective are valuable. If you can draw, one perspective A4 size during my studying time. I did some part-time job. After I feel more confident and comfortable on drawing, I got some opportunities doing a part-time job. And one perspective or A4 size, I sell it for 300 ringgit. This is the empty paper, right? Empty paper A4. But if this is no value, you put it down on the floor, people just throw it. But if you can draw properly here, the perspective like what you can see on the screen in front of you now is 300 ringgit, giving you a value. You change from the empty paper, plain paper into the design work. Everything about money. Yes. Maybe later on I can share some of my work if I have time. And Alhamdulillah, some of our work is already recognized, and we're really making money because that is our special skill. This program in landscape architecture is not just about we are different. We producing you as a designer, landscape architect, that you know good knowledge in designing landscape, and also how to portray, how to produce a product, your drawings that you can sell it. You can imagine one A4 is 300 ringgit. If you can produce a 4 A4, you can time 4. You can draw if you can draw if you can produce a good drawing, good modeling. This is part of the. That's why our alumni or your senior, some of them they work independently. They work as a freelance. Yeah, they work as a freelance because you got a skill already, right? You got your own skill. You can also continue your working with company, but you have free time. You can work. Like myself, I'm working as a academician, a lecturer. I'm also administrative in UTM, and also I have a company of my consultant. Okay, uh, I still producing a master plan. Okay, maybe in the introduction class I can show you some example. Right. So what I want to tell you about understand about design communication. You must know the process to produce things, to produce your artwork, okay, your drawing work, okay. Example, this photo, when you go to the site, you take some photo, right? So what the photo will tell you about the existing condition of that particular area, and then you start examine that, how to make good to this particular place, example, and how to improve the environment. We are dealing with the built environment. The built environment consists of what? Building, consists of the walkway, the parking, the sky. But you can see the existing, like the first photo just show a building and the road. Then you start thinking about why this, maybe in the evening there are many people using this road. Maybe why not we trying to change it into become a bazaar, a public space. So car cannot using this, or maybe a certain control. You can see a parking space there, and you can add on some green there. So you can use this photo to overlap with your transparent paper. So you can imagine that when you put some element there. So this is can be part of the presentation. So when you talk to your lecturer or talk to your studio master, or when you want to present it, it's very clear to show your design suggestion. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Itu ya, this is what I want you to understand it. The philosophy behind it. Okay? I want you to be A student. I want you to be a great designer. Okay? Then you put some, of course, during my studying time, my senior said, drawing without color is incomplete. Lecturer also said it. Okay, because landscape is always associated with colors. Of course, we see our built environment with colors, right? We see some flowering tree, we see some green, we see a type of what kind of flowers, we see what sort of the painting, okay, the feature wall decoration. So then you can put some colors giving some meaning, some character. Okay, uh, my suggestion is if you have a time, go and do sketching activities. Don't be shy. Go to your own city. You go to some places that just close to you and you start draw. You need to practice. I mentioned to Isfa, you want to be a good footballer, you must play football well. It's no doubt. That's a simple way. You want to be a better in one field, you must keep doing it, right? If you just waiting, Dr. Hisham asking you to draw one perspective, Dr. Dane, okay, Prof. Dane, maybe some lecture also, okay, plan, you won't get much. Believe me. Alright, you want to be better, you want to score A. Sometimes maybe you see, wow, difficult to draw. This may be a gifted people. No, I start with my drawing very bad. It's just a C plus, and I still remember up to now. Maybe during my life, in my lifetime, I still remember that. When I the first year, my drawing is bad. No, like my lecturer also said to me, Tisham, you don't know how to draw. Ah. Your drawing is very poor. This is very common when they come into the grade session, right? Everyone show up their your work. Some are good, of course, right? And some are, you know, just uh, okay, right? But some maybe struggling. Huh? Hafiz Fauzan, Nur Hafiza, Mo Hakimi. Of course, that I can't see you. Most of you now put it off camera. That's fine. But I just assume that now I'm communicate with you physically. No, I can see Isfa and non Nadira. I think just two of you when I'm not sure the rest. I hope that you listen and take note what I'm saying to you because it's not my giving you a theory. This is the way I'm experiencing it as a practitioner, designer, landscape architect. Okay, so you go bring your sketchbook, your pen. This is your pen, your drawing pen. You start draw. You draw a piece of trees. You draw people. Wait, I will show it to you. Okay, you draw. Okay. Now you see trees and people. Start. Still you think about it, right? You draw more perspective, angle. Yeah, sometimes it's more easier using uh, paper than open up my iPad because I need to switch a bit. So you can see the 3D already, isn't it? You already think about it, right? It is fine. You can draw in you can put many line. This is no problem because that will practice your skill. I will show it to you after this. So I want you to practice a lot like this. Okay? Can you see it? All right. Isfa, can you see it?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think so.
Little bit, yeah.
No.
Nope.
No? Okay, never mind. That's why after this I will demonstrate using my I bought my iPad. Okay,
Mm.
because my experience teaching this subject, I need to demonstrate. It's okay. I will share it to you. So then you put some color, very simple color. Okay, you don't need to color everything, right? In our sketch, for example, you see this. First, you need to set. This is 1 point perspective, isn't it? 1 point perspective. If you don't believe, so you can take this line. Okay, maybe this line is this angle. Forgot that. So maybe it's far than this. This is from 1 point perspective. Then in our sketch, it's not necessary for you to detail up all features. To show up, there's different type of drawings. So after you come up with this sketch, so you just highlight certain elements only. Example, in the middle here, so very simple, you can see the tower. All right, not necessary to draw everything completely detailed. Okay, then you put some background blue color for the cloud sky. All right, as a backdrop. Then the buildings. Okay, so maybe I need to be quick a bit. Okay, this is another simple 2 point perspective. I think perspective can try it, scan, you know. So it's very powerful when you come out as a drawing like this, because to show up this the placement or space, you can see the terrace garden with the seating, the chimney. Maybe at the back they have some agriculture, edible garden at the back there. All right. So they have a random stepping stone along the perimeter of buildings. So you as a designer, okay, so you when you produce a drawing, so your drawing will explain. Okay, so this is 1 point or 2 point perspective.
2 point.
Now this is a 2 point perspective. Sometimes you
Okay.
don't have ideas, so why not you can follow these ideas in your garden. So maybe this is a vertical green garden. So you don't have ideas, so you don't know what to do. So you see example, oh, okay, I think this is quite interesting to develop a vertical garden at my own plaza. Example, okay. So you just follow this perspective, then you just maybe modify a bit the feature. No problem. It's no problem. Sometimes students struggling to get ideas. Of course, because you just enter one semester or 1 or 2 years. I'm working on this almost 30 years. All right, in this field. All right, so that's why uh, you need to really see a lot of example, okay, in order for you, and you must draw correctly, okay. Because we as a designer always show the ambience that we are proposed. For example, the building, the plaza in front of the building. So you just draw the flat building. If you know some character of the building, you can draw a bit like this sketch. So you see the building. You see as well this building. So the building. But if you don't know how to design the building, you can leave it blank. Okay, so you just concentrate the garden. Even you don't know how to draw the trees, you just follow this perspective. You can see some trees, you cannot see all the whole form. So at the end, at the of this building, so we can see some plants or some vegetation and the plaza. So you take this part of the example. Okay. So the proportion is very important. The proportion. So always put figure, human figure. Yes, of course, that human figure will tell you the dimension of 1.5, 1.6, 1.6 what meter, isn't it? 1.6 meter kan? What is your height, Isfar? 1.7.
What? Sorry, my height?
Yeah. Total height
It's yeah, it's 6'1".
6'1".
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very common. So that's why when you want to draw this feature, so you must imagine the proportion. Okay. So and in our sketch, what do you want to focus on? You go outside. Okay. So you see what you cannot draw everything. It's something that you want to focus and get a bit the composition. This is part of the training that in order for you to grab, to control the composition of each element. Kena draw. Kalau kita when I explain to you, of course that now you are listening to me. But to practice it, that's in need your own work, your own activities. I'm explaining things to you. Maybe you okay, fine, you understand a bit the process, but again that to apply it, right? To apply is another level. Okay, to apply it, so you need to do to draw it. You can when I took a studio last 3 years, almost 3 years, I didn't teach studio because I'm in the administrative uh, level. So every student need to come up with 30 sketches or 40 sketches in the studio. And by in the portfolio day, I ask them to display their all sketches. Yes, and you know that all your sketches can be part of your portfolio. When you go for interview later on to get a job, they want to see your work. Your transcript to support you, but to value you is depend on how depend on your uh, uh, product, depend on your drawings. Okay, depend on your work, how good you are, how great you are. You want to be better, you must do a lot of practices. You must to practice produce a good drawing, a good work that need to be learned. I'm not saying that oh difficult, this must be a gifted, must be a special skill. I don't know how to draw. I never draw before during my school time. No, it's no problem. It's no problem. As far as you are positively keep learning, working, inshallah you will get it. Last time I don't know how to draw properly, how to color, how to produce a good work. My first year is very bad, but luckily I still got status good, good, just 2.2 CPA. My CPA is low, but alhamdulillah it's not a conditional status. Okay, just good. But after that I start change my life. Last at that time, I just working by my own self. I less re, I really less referring to many example. Okay, less to talk to my lecturer. Okay, get input. At that time, it's not internet, right? We just we just depending much to the library, our lecturer and our friends, our colleague. So I change my style a bit. I get closer working with my senior, good senior. I close to them. Close means that I always go to their studio, spend my time with them, you know, and sometimes they asking me to help them also. Okay, but at the same time, they teaching me, they coaching me, how to draw properly, how to draw in better ways, right? So I learn a lot from my senior. And I always go to the library. I make many photocopy. At that time, it's because it's no internet. I just compiling all the good work like this. Then I try to follow example. You must follow example. Mesti, I know that some of you may be struggling in your drawing, right? Don't give up. Okay, don't give up. Okay, it's a lot of plenty time to improve, but it must be positively to take it. This is just a show to show you you can do it, but you need to practice. You see, the vertical line must stand vertically. I said to you. So the composition is not a detail. We are not draw a portrait of person. No, we are not draw a kind of specific painting. No, we draw our design, our work. We trying to draw to describe, to portray our imagination tadi, just now. What you think about from your mindset, you translate into the paper. So this is a bit on the sketching. So I said to you, so please practice. I already give it to you, right? It's not just you, when you receive it, don't just, okay, you save it into your folder. No, actually, I'm giving you a guidance for you to do it, and to follow, to copy. Fine, it's not false. Okay, you can copy. It's fine, because this is part of the process that we can learn something great. For example, you can copy how people do coloring, very simple color, using a very light. I will show it to you after this. Okay, but you see the background, okay, how to setting up the feature, all right. Uh, Even you can practice like this, very simple. Get the composition first. When you draw a building, when you draw a people, we give certain dimension. Okay, for example, this 1.6 or 1.7, so you can see 1 story, 2 story of building. You practice the line like this, fine. You can trace it, no problem. Okay, then you can detail up like this. This is more detail, right? But you must start with somewhere here to get the composition of this setting and beyond, suasana dia. Then you detail up a bit, render. But you can also put color, or you just giving some detail a bit, fine. But if you can go further like this, is fine. You can see the character is already there. The depth of the drawing is already put it there. For example, from here you can see the grass, you can see the wall, the stone wall, you can see the building, the architecture behind it, and you can see also the feature pot, right? You can copy this, no problem. You can put in your portfolio. Okay, it's part of the practicing in your landscape communication. So this is what I mentioned to you. When you put a human figure, it gives you certain dimension, scale. For example, that lady, that girl, 5 feet, okay, 5 feet, 1.6 meter. And of course, when you draw a signage, the direction signage, it must be higher a bit, isn't it? Maybe 2.5 meter higher than this particular girl dimension. And when we put a human figure, it's not just about guide you on the proportion, but also it will give you the kind of activities. Kita when we design a garden, of course we need people, isn't it? Because how our place, our garden can be function well to serve for people and habitat as well, of course. So we draw people. So you need to, you see, if you Google, there are many type of drawings show pattern of how people draw people, human figure. Yeah, this is example. If you don't know how to draw people, you just trace this. Trace. It's not difficult to trace, isn't it? I'm asking you, teacher asking you to trace. Fine. Because this is part of the guidance. You can follow. It's not necessary for you to draw very detailed like hair, eyes. We are not draw a very. We are not giving you a special mark of making the human figure drawing. No, but we use human figure drawing to give certain dimension of our design and also to the activities. If you draw a walkway, you draw people walking along the way. You draw a open lawn for the multi-purpose activities. So you draw people doing various type of activities to show the purpose of that having a open lawn garden for the multi-purpose activities. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, are you okay, guys?
Yeah.
Yes, doctor.
Yes.
Okay. I hope that you can follow. All right. You can see here. Ariana, are you okay?
Yeah, yeah, I'm okay.
Where are you now?
I'm in my mom's office.
Where is it?
It's in school. She's a principal.
Oh, in Sabah or what?
Oh yeah, in Sabah.
Oh, okay, okay. So it's more easier to get a line there.
Currently I
Oh,
am not at my own district, so the line is like on off and off.
oh, okay. That's good. So this is another example. So when you, that's why I am asking you. You go outside, go to your city, your own city. So bring your sketchbook, draw like this. So be a designer. Now you are trying to become a designer. Don't be shy. Kan kalau tengok artis you see artist working drawing on the street, you must feel it. Hey Nadira, what are you drawing? I'm drawing a building. So you must proud of your drawing. You are practicing. Jangan segan-segan kan. Tepi jalan duduk kan atas batu ke sitting on the bench. So open up your sketchbook and open up your pen apa? You're using your pen, your drawing pen, you start the sketch. Practice. So I believe that you will be a great designer and you will produce a good drawing. So you can see the step. First, try to get the composition and you see whatever you can visualize object that in front of you. Then you put you organize in your drawing. You see the a person, people there is just assuming many people. It's not detail, right? But you can see for example, the lamppost. Okay, the lamppost is looks almost similar, but in terms of drawing, you can change a bit. But at least you can see I think this is the church and this is the plaza, right? The lamppost, even you can see the sculpture, the host behind it, right? So you start practicing it in this kind of drawings. Okay. So uh, wherever you go, okay, I want you to start. Hopefully, you can produce more sketching in your portfolio. Of course, you study about line, form, texture, how to draw vegetation, but finally, you need to compose it into the one drawing. Okay, even to draw the car, okay, the bus, right? How to draw a bus? We don't care about you want to draw Proton or Honda. It's not a mark there. Okay, mark given because of the drawing to show this is the streetscape design with the shelter, okay, with the pavement there, all right, plants. We have some decorative pot, okay, to show up your work and propose a more comfortable environment for the bus stop garden. See, so your drawing explain it, okay. So you start first. You draw a frame there, okay, a frame. Then you start compose all the feature. Okay, again with the base of perspective, 1 point. So this line, you can draw it like that. This is fine. Not necessary for you to erase later on. You can leave it, but you draw lightly. All right. So you strengthen certain object okay, more significant compared with the secondary feature. Okay, because this perspective line is just a drafting line to get the composition of your work. Then you detail up a bit here. Okay, you detail up. If you have time, you detail up a bit. Sometimes it's no need for you to render everything. Because later on you need to put some color. Okay, this is another example, very simple. Okay, for example, you can see palm, you can see the walkway, right? To draw the vehicle. So you trace. You don't know how to draw a car, right? So you trace a car. For example, you have some parking space. So you just copy how to draw a car on plan, elevation, lorry, bus, SUV, okay? So not necessary for you to draw a Honda Civic, alright, Proton, a Mercedes. No need. Because we are examining you to sketch out the and beyond, the landscape, the built environment, okay, that consists of various feature. Trees, okay. Draw a simple trees. Then try to playing with various kind of form. Then you put some color on the trees. Whether you want to use a pencil color, you want to use markers. If you're asking me, I prefer using markers because easy for me to control and to store as well. Using watercolor, I'm not so keen because of I need to put water, then it's hard to manage it later on, right? I need to tissue, for example. Okay, water. I don't know. If you feel comfortable, fine. But the effect of markers are more for me more significant and more fast. Okay. When I work in Singapore, they have a lot of markers, a big shelf, and they store all markers there, and very easy for me as a designer to work. Even when talking about green, they have I think 50 or 30 type of green. I just choose or olive or dark green, light green. I can't remember some of the name. Each color they have a specific code, right? So very simple colors to show type of trees. Whether that one is a shaded trees, the columnist trees, palm. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So you can practice. Is there? Are you already start working on coloring?
No, not yet, but I will start soon.
Okay. You can start on plan or elevation. Okay. Even this is some example of trees. Okay. Example of shrub. Right. This is using a pencil color, but sometimes also they mix with markers. Okay.
Mm.
Uh, Pencil color and markers. All right. Yes, I did it. In my drawing also, I'm mix up between markers and pencil color because pencil color also sometimes we need a very fine line, so we just use pencil color, and then I put some markers. So this is an example of a shrub, and you can see the stone, right? This is another example of sketch. Okay. What I want you to do to draw a bit on practicing. Okay, your eyes contact the composition in the in your sketches. Okay. For example, this is the panoramic view. Okay, you can see the ocean, the building, and the landform there. Right. This is using a pencil, but later on when you put color, you can differentiate the all feature. So please practice like this. Okay. Um, imagine the space, imagine the elements. For example, the buildings. You go. Why I asking you to draw to do urban sketching, because when you use urban, when you practice urban sketching dekat bandar in the town, they have many guidance, especially building. So you see the here we can see the very narrow street, right? Narrow, and they have a tunnel there. So you imagine that what is this dimension? Maybe 3 meters. So this is a 3 meters building height, and this is maybe 2.5 or 3 meters wide of this street, and this height maybe a 2.2 meters. So again, that when we draw or come up with this sketch, so we also need to see the dimension. Okay, same like this. So that's why I'm asking you, go to your own city, keep drawing, put some drawing. In urban more easier because you have a lot of guidance there. Especially the building will become your dominant guide. Dominant. You can imagine that the one floor is 3 meters, the door is 2 meters. When you draw people, is 1.6 meters. So that's why when we start sketch, actually dimension, proportion are very important. Okay. So this is just example. I think I already give it to you. So please understand some philosophy and process of the drawings. Okay, you must control certain composition. Sebab tu bila kita banyak, when we do a lot of exercises drawing, we are practicing our eyes composition, our visual composition. Sorry, visual composition between building, street, walkway, trees, the building height, the features height, the width. All these are important to be composed in your drawings. All right. So this is in a very quick sketch. This is another technique. You can see the different technique. This is a one person technique. Okay, almost similar, but this is a different person technique, and this is another technique. Okay, it's depend on your style. This is fine. Okay, so let me try to show it to you. Or maybe there's some of you want to show your work. Why not? Why not? I am stopping here first. Is anyone willing to show your sketch?
Teacher,
Then I can give.
can you show the isometric view again? I'm confused about that one.
Wait, let me go to the isometric. Okay, this is the isono and isometric. Isonometric basically 45 by 45 degree. It's very sharp. Okay.
Yeah.
You go to isometric. It's 60 and 30 or 60 to 30. It depends on how form that you want to show it. You just switch the plan, you turn the plan into 45 by 45, you will get the isonometric. And you switch 30 by 60, you can get isometric. Isometric is a bit wide. You can see the space. This is isonometric, and this is isometric. You can see the difference.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, let me open up my iPad. Wait, I need to using my different account first. Okay, we take a 5 minutes break. You want to take some drink? We will continue at inshallah 10:57. 5 minute break, okay?
Okay.
Meanwhile, I want to prepare my drawing board. Okay,
Okay.
take a break first. Okay. I hope that you can hear me.
Yes, doctor, we
Yes.
can hear you.
Okay. Now I think in front of you, just open up my iPad drawing. This is very simple to show up your coloring technique. But of course, like I said to you, it's again that it depends on how what are the media that you feel comfortable to use. Maybe I will show it later on. Let me explain it. The new drawing to okay. I think more easier for me to use this. I need to change from marker to let's see soft pencil first. Okay, when you draw it, it depends on your stroke. For example, this is you already practice a line like here, so this is fine. Sometimes people can want to draw like this, or you can draw a straight line. So this is all the basic that you already draw before. Okay, then you can practice also when you draw a square. Oops. Make sure this edge when you draw a square, this must be joined. Okay, when you draw, don't long like this. So you just this is wrong. Okay, so you need to give a bit like that and draw you draw a shape. Okay, so this is a bit I think very basic, but what I want to show it to you, when you draw a circle, of course when you start draw trees, right, you will use a circle template. But sometimes after maybe you already practice it, this also can be very, not necessary to have a complete round shape. So you can have like, that's the trunk, and you can practice a free form. This one also can be like a trees. Okay, whether you can have a big, small trees, you know. So this also can represent of trees, right? So of course, that from the basic of the circle, you can draw a palm. So you can start draw a type of different type of palm. Okay. Uh, Even you can draw like here. So just keep practicing your sketch. All right. Trees, stone. Okay. For example, you want to draw a rock feature. Okay. Trees. Right. Elevation or section. So you must practice all this. Then before you start further in terms of uh, understanding about coloring later on, but at least to practice your skill on drawings. Even you draw trees, you can have several type of trees, a grass. Okay, so just practice quick, uh, very symbol, okay, of the landscape elements. Then you can put a shadow. Okay. When you start draw, sometimes it looks 2D, right? So if you put shadow, so you can give you more uh, impact to the drawings. For example, I put a shadow of these plants. So you can see the different level, the different mode of the object. When you put shadow, not necessary for you to use a black markers or black color. So you can also choose dark gray is much more better. If you're asking me, dark gray is much more better. This is a palm. So this is black and white. So this you can see the palm there. So this is without a color, right? So now you can see the level of the drawing is already different because you already put the shadow. So the drawings much bit outstanding. Then you can put a color. Example, I just shows a plan first. So normally when I color this is a marker techniques. Okay, I just leave the white blank plain on the top. Okay, so the rest I just normally we give some tone later on, and normally we just use a certain stroke. This is my stroke. Even sometimes the plants, like I said to you, is not cannot be equally flat. Then you can give some different type of tone. Even you can use a different green. Okay. It's very quick, isn't it? So now you already can see a type of plants there, and maybe later you can. This is all green, right? Trees, green trees. So you plan to put some flowers at this particular trees, so you can move like that. You can put the color, you know. Can you follow? Can you follow me, guys? Are you
Yeah.
following me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it depend on the technique. Is not right or wrong. Okay. So I just straight to you. Okay. Then you can put some white uh, line to refresh back your perimeter line of the trees. You can use maybe what they call it, the liquid paper. So last time I'm using a liquid paper. So even for example this. So this is just to show. Uh, So you just leave it white on the top. Then you can put shadow there. So now you can see some uh, kind of trees here. We want to put some sorry, need to change it to markers. So this is with a yellow flower. Again, during my study time, I bought many markers because to give more variety on my drawings. For example, this plant will show some flowering kind of trees there. So I will choose the name later on. Okay, this is just a green type. All right. So that will show a bit the hierarchy, okay, of plants. Okay, so give it some tone. Okay, then you put shadow, then you put white. That's all. Then for the grass, you can have maybe say you should color the grass first, then you can put a shadow there. So this is the grass example. To give a back shadow here. Okay, now you can see the trees. All right, and even for grass, you can give some different type of shadow, different type of tone. But I'm not sure how much, what is the price of markers nowadays in the market. Saya masih ingat during my studying time, I spent a lot of money buy markers. So expensive at that time. I think RM7, and I don't have much money to eat to buy food. But alhamdulillah, just for the sake of my study. So it's very simple color. Okay, so you can put one layer or two layers. Then you can differentiate. For example, which one is flowering, which one is non-flowering trees. Same with the elevation. Let me draw the elevation and trying to put some color later on. This is the trees. All right. Then we got palm here. Can you see, guys?
Yeah.
Yes, Doctor.
So this is the palm. All right. So you can see the palm there. Then you can trying to again to put some colors before it. Maybe you can. Right. When I draw, when I color section also same. I am not color all the um shape. I'm not fill up all the shape with colors. Sometimes I just leave it green on the top, white, Then below I just give some shade on it, some different type of tone. So you can see I'm using the same type of green. So I want to put some flowering trees there. Okay, at least you giving a shade, giving a bit tone on that particular feature. Then this is the trees. The rest, I think you need to explore by yourself. All right. For the ground, maybe, oops, it's too big. All right. This is a bit on manual. Is it okay, guys? But of course, you need to follow. You need to practice by yourself. So let me share a bit from. Let me stop sharing this. So I just show it to you. Very simple coloring. I think you need to have some first step to put all white. Sorry, light color. Then you just using warm color, light color. Then you touch up a bit with the dark color. Then in the bottom you can put some uh, shadow with the some specific angle. So you can see the more outstanding feature when you put specific color on that particular object. This is a bit one of the example. Then maybe I can show it to you also a different Okay, let me. Okay, this is another. Just want to show it. Simple coloring I did for the perspective. Um, I download from internet this feature, and then I give it some color to practice. First I just start with the blue. Maybe I can show it to you. The blue for the pool, the swimming pool. Then the landscape, the green. Okay. So maybe I can continue this a bit. So the stroke you can practice. Yeah, your comfortable stroke. So you see that you already give some shade between the swimming pool and the landscape, the pool deck. Uh, then you can also give some dark color for the trees. So this one using a marker technique. On top, for example, this arbor, you can, for example, you want to add on the, uh, you can see the arbor here on top of it, on top of the building. This is, you want to put some, for example, the climbers. For me, using marker is for me it's a bit easier to manage. So never mind, you just put one color, then you can using a different type of green. Sometimes it's not enough. Can you see the climbers?
Yes.
Then maybe you can have more dark color. Okay, on the top, leave it like climbers. So I just give something like that. So then maybe the flower, I need to touch up a bit. Maybe more toner. Okay. Uh, I'm not showing you from the early stage of this drawing. So this is my second stage level to enhance the perspective, right? So you can see some white line. I'm using the, if you using the liquid paper, you can have kind of a line to show the branches, kind of the wind flow, the glass, right? So that's a bit, so you can see this is one of the perspective that I did uh, Uh, so you can practice. You can download some feature from Google. Okay, maybe I just show you a bit how this is the original plan that I download from internet. Okay, so that's the original plan. So it already have some texture and some line profile. Then I put some color. So then you can see here, this already I put some color on it for the garden. This is a bit my stroke, okay, my line style, my color style. So people also can examine that there are some significant character. So what I want you to practice a bit after this is to draw or to use your previous color. You can make a photocopy. Then you put coloring using markers or pencil color, that is fine. Or watercolor is any media that you feel comfortable. So you can try some sketches. You also can try plan, elevation, and section. Even uh, maybe I stop sharing this. Let me stop sharing this first. Okay, let me share with my slide. Sure that this is the slide. I also already share this slide to you guys, if I'm not mistaken, about coloring.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, so this is some example of markers. You can go to the stationery. All right, you can draw here. Where you can use your own drawing. You can practice some trees coloring. Uh, don't start with dark color. Okay, my advice is start with warm color. Okay, warm color, then you can touch up a bit later on. Okay, this is just some example of this is not this is watercolors. Okay, but the effect of markers also can be like watercolors. Yeah. So start with the light color, warm color, then you can see most of the trees they have a shadow. All right. Not necessary for you. This is the example. Okay, that's why I'm not saying that you must follow 100% what you can get. Right, it's depend on your technique as well. You can modify, you can follow, right? But by end of the day, the drawing must come with a one package. Cannot be just a tree. Right? This is another type of different coloring. Maybe using a watercolor. So this using a pencil color and some markers. Okay, the hardscape you can see the difference between pencil color and markers, right? But sometimes also you can mix the media between pencil color and watercolors. Okay, just now I just show because I'm using iPad, so I just turn it into the markers. Okay, if we have a workshop physically, maybe I can show it in the more uh, closer to you. All right, so you can touch up with pencil color and markers also. For example, you want to make a very fine line, so you can use a pencil color. All right, but it's depend. It's not sometimes it's not necessary. It's depend also on your work. Sometimes you just finish one plan, you cannot produce a good coloring in your perspective. All right, maybe your work looks incomplete. So when your work looks incomplete, so maybe your mark will you will get not good mark, right? So for example, this is using pencil color. It's depend when you put coloring, it's also depend on the type of drawings. For example, in this very quick sketch ideas, so you can just simply use a simple color, all right, to show the different type of features. For example, trees, water, wall. Okay, it depend on the features as well. Okay, this is again, so using a pencil color, and also you can see maybe this author using a liquid paper or blanco to show up some character texture, right? This is a final master. Normally in the final master plan or the final drawing, you come up with very fine perspective. But coloring is depend, all right? It's not necessary for you to color everything. So you also can put to differentiate a type of vegetation, at least to give some uh, ambience, the landscape character. So maybe the water feature, yeah, using blue, then using a light even type of green for the vegetation, including a shrub, grass, trees, right? Then the pavement. You can see here it's very light. It's not. We don't need to color everything. We just color at the along the water features, right? See as well. Uh, so you can start if you already complete rendering of your drawing. So maybe not necessary for you to color this very detailed, but you can see the figure 5.35. I think is enough. For example, this is the preliminary design, and below is the final design. So the color is more sharp, is more rendered, right? So again, when you put coloring, it depend on the level of your drawings. This is a detailed drawing. When you color detail, so we want to see all the ground feature. So your big trees must look transparent. So a level that you want to show the ground features. All right, in the detailed drawing of maybe the scale 1 to 20, 1 to 50. Okay. So this is another example. So you can practice using markers, watercolors, pencil colors, right? This is a bit final. So, but of course, first you need to establish your black and white drawings. Yeah, first. Then later on, it's not difficult for you to put just very simple color because your drawing is already good. Okay. So we are not really render all our trees. You can see some basically we just use a plain drawing, then we put colors later on to differentiate. Yeah. Again, this is another example. So using just one, two type of for the building, beige color and light purple, I think, and you can see the human figure like that. And for this, the plan and section design ideas, when you explain it to your client, you also can give, when you put some colors, you will give some differentiation of design feature. For example, the stone, the rock, and the water feature. Yeah. And of course, you can see the handwriting, very proper handwriting, or very organized. Yeah. So this is another technique of coloring. So you can follow maybe from the this sketch. You can practice. You can make a photocopy. You can put a colors on it. Yeah. Even you can download some section elevation. Then you can practice on your coloring. It's good to draw because this is part of the practicing, right? If you just take another example, that's another level. This is fine. But if you can draw, you can color. That's good. Okay, because we need to draw our ideas later. Yeah. So you can see very light color mix of coloring with markers and pencil color of this. Even we also color the detail element, the section, very simple coloring but very meaningful to show up the ideas of the tower, the terraces, the terrace, the pavilion, right? This is all the design ideas coloring technique. Okay. Can see from the yeah, you can see from here, not everything need to be colored. Some you can leave it white. All right. So the pavilion from the basic sketch, you know, uh, until the coloring, the perspective, very fine, right? Elevation. I think I already give this slide. So what you need to do is to practice some of your sketches and perspective. Put some colors on it. Okay, you can use a pencil color or you can mix as well. You can see the very simple sketch is already good. So that's why when we put just color a bit, sometimes you don't need to follow the 45 degree or consistent of stroke. So you can see also the feature, right? But some, for example, this you can see the stroke, the pattern, right? So not necessarily just one angle. So you can also have a 2 or 3 angle, but they need to be consistent. So this is, you can see this one angle is fine. In our design process, so we quite oftenly produce a schematic ideas. So don't leave it black and white. So you can put very simple color to give character of your design like this. Yeah, this is some example of the schematic plan. You know, schematic ideas of 3D, the isometric and the perspective. Okay, I think what you need to do a lot of practices. Okay, I just give this as a guide. But finally, you must try. You need to try and you must develop and improve yourself. Okay, so you can trying to use a watercolor, markers. Okay, you can see the different type of technique of drawings and coloring. So we can from our coloring, we can understand where is the water feature, where is the walkway. We can read it. Okay, we can read where is the walkway, where is the parking space, where is the building, where is the parking, where is the open garden, right? Where is the bridge? So your drawing must be readable. When we put a color will show some dimension. For example, the open lawn, the walkway, the plaza, right? The square. So that's the purpose of color in terms of differentiate this feature. For example, this is a detailed drawing. You can see, you can imagine the type of water feature. You can imagine the material that the designer suggests here. Okay, for example, timber, stone, rock, right? The type of trees, for example, the green trees, the flowering trees, flowering shrub, right? Okay, this is a bit like example of final drawing. So you can see very detailed, but you can people can understand all the feature there. For example, you can see like a theme park, the pool, the bridge, and the water slide, the main building, the entrance. So the pattern of the plaza looks like a wave, you know, coming up, coming down to the pool. They have the another clubhouse, for example, a square garden, a plaza garden, right? So this is a typical coloring for the final drawing, and this is typical coloring for the preliminary ideas. Can you see it? You
Yeah.
must understand the different level. Okay, when we say preliminary or schematic, it's no need to color very fine line, very fine shape. All right. So this is a detail, but this is the preliminary coloring. So very maybe just 1 or 2 colors of plants. But in the detailed drawing, you can see very refined, very fine, very in depth. Okay, so we can understand the feature. Okay, okay. I think that's all for my input for today about improving your sketching, your three-dimensional drawing, and also coloring. Next week, I think I would like to invite you to share your work to the class. I will call you, okay, randomly. I think probably that you feel happy to share. All right, whatever you have, I think want to see some coloring and sketches as well. All right, is there any question, gentlemen?
No
So
question.
far, no question, Doctor.
All right. So just please do it. All this what I already give it to you as a guide. Again, you can practice a 2 or 3 coloring technique. All right. Perspective sketches. You can draw some section, imagination section. Then you can put some color on it. See a lot of example. Okay. There are some visual, some demonstration in the YouTube. You can also see, for example, how to color, how to use markers, how to use watercolor, how to use pencil color in landscape architecture drawing or graphic. please refer and look some example and do it by yourself. All right, that's all, gentlemen. Inshallah, thank you very much. Is there any question before we dismiss? And inshallah, we will meet again at 4 for our introduction class. Today, I will give a lecture on the urban landscape. Continue from the previous Dubai slide, but this afternoon, I will give more the theoretical understanding of the urban landscape. Is there any question on our class today? This is
No,
different,
class
okay?
today.
This class is about developing your skill. But at the same time, also you need to understand to compose the feature, right? If you know how to draw, but you don't know how to compose, to design, also you cannot produce a good work, right? So you want to create a landscape setting, you can see some example. For example, a house garden, a resort garden, a plaza, a walkway. So there are a lot of example nowadays available in the internet. Just see it, use whatever that you can apply it, then change into your concept, follow your site constraint, follow your site suggestion, okay, to 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 develop our vocabulary in our mind, or library, design library in our mindset. You need to see a lot of example, okay, and you can store it into your own library. All right, I think that's all. 2 hours talk today. So I hope that you enjoy working on this. You can also share your studio work to me later on in the coming class. Maybe I can give some comments on your studio work, line, form, even a composition of the presentation also important. So I will share it to you in the next class. All right, thank you.